Welcome to Boomstick Gaming, this is Alex, and today I'm going to be highlighting what I consider to be the best combat upgrades to spend those skill points on first for every hero in Marvel's Avengers. For this, I'll be exclusively focusing on the primary skill tree for everyone, which more directly influence how you approach combat, leaving the specialty and mastery skill trees off the list for possibly their own breakdowns later. I'm hoping my suggestions will help you really pin down your preferred character in the early to mid game by aiming on getting their most potent skill upgrades as soon as possible. First off, Natasha Romanoff as Black Widow. To kick this all off, pun may be intended, one of my personal favorite attacks is the Spider Sweep, which is towards the top of Black Widow's light attack skill tree. It's a simple hold of the light attack button, and is really good at breaking enemies' blocks, does medium damage, impact, and stun, while also, most importantly, inflicts knockdown. It's not too flashy of a move, but its reliability to pop enemies into the air, starting tons of mid-air possibilities, is something I found myself using constantly to initiate combat as Black Widow. Not too useful against larger enemies other than maybe breaking through their guards, but the smaller dudes, this will almost instantly disable them, setting them up to be comboed till dead. The next upgrade I also recommend getting as soon as possible after that is her alternate pistol mode, Perforator. This delivers one huge blast each shot, breaking block, doing high damage and impact with low stun, also inflicting stumble. This is great as is for range combat, but to bring this all full circle, combining the Spider Sweep with juggling with the one and done blast from Perforator makes for a really deadly and fun synergy. You will also notice that enemies like to flail right in front of you with their heads just waiting to be popped, making this also essentially a free mid-combo headshot if you time it correctly. Overall, for Black Widow, those were the two early upgrades that stood out the most to me that I recommend unlocking ASAP, since they really lend themselves well to her enemy juggling combat focus and her strong ranged attack power. Next up, Bruce Banner as the Hulk. The Hulk section here is a two-parter skill combo, so bear with me as I explain each of the two parts separately first. Tectonic Fury allows you to repeatedly tap heavy attack after performing a heavy charge attack. This breaks block, deals low damage, medium impact and stun, while also inflicting flyback. This move works great for control point protection or as an assist for the rest of your teammates, since the huge AoE enemy pop-up will greatly help out their combo game. The downside of this is that slow initial charged heavy attack you have to do, which might get interrupted, which brings us now over to Earth Smasher. This is a superior version of the aerial charge slam attack that breaks block, deals low damage, large impact, medium stun, and inflicts knockdown. This move is decent, nothing to highlight just on its own. However, this is technically a heavy charge attack, so as soon as you hit the ground with it, you can instantly start slamming away with Tectonic Fury. Since you are much safer priming this in the air, this makes for a much better way to use that ability. With both of these combined, you will now be the AoE knockback knockdown king, and online teams will love the openings you provide with all that crowd control. Next, Tony Stark as Iron Man. After you acquire Iron Man's lasers, which you'll need to unlock first, being a pretty decent ranged attack, you will then need to grab the awesome Photon Samurai. This modifies your heavy attacks, inflicting low damage and impact with high stun, but what makes this great, especially against groups, is the incredible area of effect around you that this hits. This turns Iron Man's ground game really up a notch, and another benefit of unlocking these lasers is also their ability to pop up enemies while you're already in the air. This can scoop up numerous enemies all at once, and makes them easy targets for aerial combos. Next, I'm honestly not a huge fan of the laser's dash attack, so instead, throw on Burning Edge, which modifies your dodge attack, making for a much more reliable and faster on-the-move alternative. Lastly, I really like the Whirling Tempest as well, which adds a grounded heavy charge attack that breaks block, does medium damage and impact, high stun, but with the downside of heavy energy consumption. However, this big AoE attack is well worth it since it can be very destructive against grouped up enemies. Overall, if you couldn't tell, Iron Man's lasers are incredibly potent as melee attacks, and I recommend unlocking them as soon as you can. Now, Thor Odin's son as Thor. First off, make sure to grab Divine Chaos when playing as Thor, as it can immensely boost his power if you're skilled enough to not get hit for a while. This will overcharge his Odin Force ability that you usually have to expend meter to use, but with Divine Chaos, as long as you don't take damage after you get in a combo or two, you will then gain all the benefits of Odin Force minus having to actually press the button to use meter. Pretty simple, but really potent if you play well. The next suggestion is the Mjolnir Cyclone String, which is the finalized combo of the Hammer Spin skill. By repeatedly holding light attack, you'll perform a sequence of attacks which breaks block, does medium damage, low impact, and high stun, but does have a slight disadvantage of getting hit and interrupted during it. However, the fix for that, which makes this a really great all-around combo, is simply tapping the button to use Odin Force right before incoming attacks hit, allowing you to repel oncoming attackers while continuing this combo string uninterrupted. If you can get the grounded combat flow going with Thor, you can combine this combo with Divine Chaos as well, where you'll then be really nearly unstoppable. Next, Kamala Khan as Ms. Marvel. Another skill similar to what I picked for Black Widow, it's so simple and easy to get, but oh so useful. Ms. Marvel's leg sweep is done by performing a light attack out of a dodge, doing medium damage, low impact and stun, while also inflicting trip. This attack comes out quickly, scoops up a big area of enemies around you, and allows them to be easily juggled. This can even be done while she's polymorphed, further improving its effectiveness. Leg sweep is all around my go-to combo starter for her, but if I'm feeling like being a little flashier, I'll go for her huge whirlwind attack instead. This will change your charged light attack while you're polymorphed, breaking block, doing high damage and impact, medium stun, while inflicting knockback. The AoE power of this is pretty great, but comes at the cost of quickly sapping her polymorph meter. Whirlwind also works when she is in Big End, which is kind of ridiculous, but definitely awesome. I tend to treat polymorph more like another ultimate meter, firing off Whirlwind, getting back to regular combat, and then firing it off again every time polymorph is fully charged. Ms. Marvel has a lot of useful skills really, but these two tend to be in my rotation the most. Lastly, Steve Rogers as Captain America. This first one will synergize well with the second, but first, let's look at Commander's Call, which is done by holding block and then hitting heavy attack. This can break block, does high damage, medium impact, high stun, and also gives Cap a temporary defense and blocking buff after you fire it off. This skill will also taunt nearby enemies, not even needing to get hit by the actual attack, which will then draw their focus right to you. Since the goal here is to get everyone attacking you, this is where Powerhouse comes into play, which is found in the shield parry skill line. By tapping block right before an incoming non-red attack hits, you can retaliate with a strong smash that will pop groups of enemies up into the air, leading to all kinds of follow-ups. Mastering the parry and drawing aggro as Captain America can become his main playstyle, using oncoming attacks against the attackers and freeing up teammates to focus on damage. And that is it. There is so much more to each of these heroes, but those were the primary skill upgrades that I would recommend getting first. Most all of the other primary skills do eventually have their practical uses, and you can amass them all towards the late game, so don't be too concerned about those skill points you've already placed. If you are playing Marvel's Avengers right now, let me know what you think of it, and also tell me some of your favorite skills and the creative things you've figured out with them. Love getting into that hidden depth kind of stuff for sure. I thank you for giving this video a watch all the way up to the very end. I'm grateful for that. And as always, this has been Alex from Boomstick Gaming, and enjoy the rest of your day.